What's up, everybody? It's Louie here again. Here to break down UFC 266. Huge card, huge fight. You got Ortega taking on Volkanovski for the 145-pound strap. You got Shevchenko taking on a new challenger, Lauren Murphy, for the 125-pound women's title. You got Curtis Blades taking on Rosinio, Rosenstrike. You know, it just doesn't end. Oh, yeah, and you got NICKDIAZ taking on Robbie Lawler, the rematch and the legacy match. You know, too many good fights to count. You got Marlon Moraes taking on Rob Dvalishvili. Just a crazy card. We've had a little bit of a layoff of pay-per-views, and we've had an off week, but we're back. Quick recap of last weekend, UFC 37. Fun card. You know, Anthony Smith got the job done. Really fun because we got the 205-pound title fight coming up at the end of October. And then Ian Cutelaba did really good against Devin Clark. And then the fight I was really excited for, Nate Menes and Tony Gravely, lived up to the hype. It was amazing, back and forth. You know, Nate Menes comes back from the dead to beat Tony Gravely. Just an amazing fight. And then Joaquin Buckley got a much needed win, so he's back. So, you know, it was a really good card last weekend. Got a lot of fun momentum here. This week, you know, not as many underdogs to cash. Got a lot of matches you're not too sure about. You know, especially Dan Hooker and the Nazar Hack Press match. There's just a lot going on in that. Like, way too much. Those guys are under a lot of stress, and the fight's still on, so that's amazing that fight's even gonna happen. But, you know, I did my research. A lot of fun fights, a lot of fights to look forward to, a lot of important fights. Let's get into it. On the prelims at women's 125, you got Roxanne Modafferi taking on Talia Santos. Roxanne, you know, the veteran, pulled some big upsets in her career, beat Macy Barber, had a tough one her last fight, and you know, Talia Santos coming off a big win. Jillian Robertson. So this will be a good fight. Modafferi, her last fight, she took on Vivian Araujo. First round of that fight, she comes forward, she pumps her jab, but she eats some counter hooks, and then she eats a 1-2-3 combination as she's coming in. And moving in, moving out, and she eats a lot of shots that way. She gets dropped with a check right hook in the first, and then she's able to get the clinch, but she gets reversed, and she gets struck down to the mat and put in the rear naked choke to end the first round. But, you know, constantly moving around, good movement from her. In the second round, she keeps getting touched with jabs. She's trying to move forward. She shoots a single leg, but it stops, and she gives up standing back control from there. But then she comes forward and lands a right cross, so you know, she can land her shots she wants to. But she gets taken down with a double as she's moving in to Vivian. And then in the third round, she gets taken down with a single, but she takes Vivian down with a single, but Vivian gets right back up, and then she's able to get around Rocky's back. And then Roxy gets taken down with a single leg off the reshot. But she's able to land a blitz in the pocket exchange. But then she gets taken down moving forward to end the fight. You know, Araujo just a little too much for her. But, you know, Roxanne's always in there. She's never out of a fight. And then Talia Santos took on Jillian Robertson in her last fight. And in the first round, Jillian pulls the armbar. But Talia is able to escape out of it, and she's able to stay on top for the round, full guard, just do work, land ground and pound, nothing devastating, but enough to win the round. And in the second round, she punches Jillian, but she gets taken down with the body lock trip as she's moving forward, and then she attempts the inverted arm triangle, but she scrambles and she's able to get side control. And then in the third round, she's able to escape guillotine attempt, and she's able to get full guard. But she gets caught in this somewhat deep armbar, but she's able to maintain the position, and she gets back on top and just finishes out the rest of the round on top, dominant position. Take a look at that line. Talia Santos minus 435, Roxanne plus 330. You know, this is a good underdog spot, but I think Talia fights similar to Vivian. I just don't think Roxanne has it. I mean, she can, you know, she has the ability to beat anybody, but Barbara got the injury, so... You know, I don't feel comfortable with this line, but it is what it is. Usually, in the upper echelon of women, they're kind of never going to get beat, so I hate the price, but I got to go with Talia Santos here. Second fight of the prelims, this is low-key my favorite fight of the night, just because I really like Chris Daukaus. Heavyweight, Shamil Abdurakhmonov taking on Chris Daukaus. Chris Daukaus, up-and-coming star in heavyweight, and kind of came out of nowhere, and I think he can do a lot of big things. Shamil took on Curtis Blades his last fight. It was over a couple years ago, which I don't like. In the first round, he gets taken down with the double immediately. He gives up his back, and he's able to get up, but he gets taken down again with the double from space, and then he gives up back, and he gets mounted to end the first. And then in the second round, he throws counter hooks and uppercut as Blades moves in to shoot, but then he gets taken down with a double eventually, and then he gets just TKO'd from half guard. Not much to it. Doesn't have much of a ground game. Daukaus not that much of a wrestler, but doesn't hit the Shamil doesn't hit the hard either. So didn't look good. Chris Daukaus took on Alexei Oleinik. Alexei Oleinik is a better grappler than Chris Daukaus. In the first round, he gets the clinch on the fence, but he stays up whenever Oleinik tries to pull guard. Then he lands ground and pound and frames off his head. And then back on his feet, he comes forward, lands a 1-2, and then he hurts him pretty bad. Then he lands a flurry on defensive hooks, 1-2s, and then knee to the head and gets TKO victory just from the amount of volume he was throwing. Chris Daukaus looked very good. Spivak just struggled with the limit. Oleinik and Daukaus made short work of him. Daukaus minus 200, Shamil plus 170. Chris Daukaus here, that's easy. And then the co-main event on the prelims, which is nuts to say, 155, Dan Hooker taking on Nasrat Hack Press, Hooker taking a little step back in competition, which is good. Real quick, both going through visa issues. Very tough for them to get here. They're going to get here a day or two before they have to weigh in. And Nasrat's mother passed away last week, unfortunately. So they're both struggling with some issues outside of the cage. But, they both had rough, but, they can make the fight, and that's good. But I'm just going to focus on, I'm not really going to take any of that into account because they're both going through a hard time. But Dan Hooker took on Mike Chandler's last fight. Not much to that fight. Bounces around, circles outside, pumps a leg and body kicks, and then backs up. But eats some straight body shots, and then Chandler lands it right to the body. And then Hooker gets dropped with the left hook to the head, and then just gets TKO'd. But there's something off about him in that fight. Had a tough quarantine in that one. But then he took on Dustin Poirier before that last June. In the first round, he lands consistent leg kicks. He pumps a jab, backs up, eats a body kick and a 1-2. Then he lands a body shot in the clinch and a 1-2 on the fence. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Then the second round still looks good. He lands a jab, but eats a counter combo. And then he lands a hard 1-2 with hooks. And he's able to stuff the takedowns mostly. And then he lands a flurry on the fence, but he eats a counter right hook from Dustin. Then he eats a body kick and then a combo from Dustin. But then toward the end of that round, he got his a lot of good shots in, hurt Dustin pretty bad. Yeah, he lands counter body hooks in an exchange. He eats a jab, but lands a counter combo, and then a flurry to the body and head on the fence, and then lands a knee to the head to end that round. But then in the third round, that's when he starts to diminish and Dustin starts to take over. And he eats a jab and a right hook as he's pressing forward. He eats combinations in exchange. He eats a jab. He's able to get the double leg from space, and he's able to land full guard. But he eats elbows but Dustin's able to get back up. He eats elbows in the clinch as he's pressing to the fence, and then Dustin's able to break free. And then from then on, just more of the same. Dustin's able to counter. He lands the heavier shots. Hooker comes forward, and then Dustin's cardio kind of takes over. And then Nasrat Hackbrass took on Rafa Garcia his last fight. In the first round, he pumps a jab at range, but he gets rocked with the overhand right. He stuffs a takedown, but eats knee to the head and gets clenched up against the fence. Not a good first round for him. Second round, comes out stronger. He lands left hook at range. He comes forward and lands a jab, and then a right hook to the head, and then to the body, and then able to land a body kick. Third round, he lands a 1-2, and then a body kick, and then he lands left uppercut in the pocket. He eats a 1-3 from Rafa, but he lands a counter uppercut, and then he presses and is able to land body kicks for the rest of the round. Nasrat plus 130, Hooker minus 150. Hooker might fall off at the end of the fight, but that was 5 rounds. It's only 3 rounds. I think Hooker is going to have a strong first round or two. Nasrat, didn't look good his first round. I think Hooker is really going to take it to him that first round. Close one, but I think Hooker's a better fighter. My pick here is Dan Hooker. I like that price on it too. And then we move to the main event of the prelims, which is a really good fight. You got Marlon Moraes taking on Merab Dvalishvili. Moraes, his last fight, he took on Rob Font. Didn't go well for him. First round, he's able to get the double leg right away into half guard. But back on the feet, he lands a head kick and then left hook, but he eats 1-2 hooks from Rob, and then he eats a jab and then a 1-2, and then he gets rocked with a jab as he's moving towards him. Font has the strongest jab, definitely in bantamweight division, and then he shoots a double leg, but he eats ground and pound and gets and then he gets TKO'd from Font. He has trouble taking shots these days, it seems like. But Font hits really hard, has that strong jab. But before that, he got knocked out by Corey Sandhagen. But Moraes has some wrestling. He took him down, so he looked better than people think. And then Rob Dvalishvili took on Cody Stamann. Cody Stamann, that gatekeeper, at the top 15, I believe. The first round, he lands a counter left hook and then an uppercut. But during the exchange, he's able to get the single leg. and then he lands a jab and then shoots a single, but it gets stuffed from Stamen. Stamen's actually a pretty good wrestler. He eats a jab in the pocket, but then he lands a 1-2 in the pocket. And then the second round, he gets pressed with a 1-2, and then he actually gets taken down with a double on the fence. But then able to get out, then just stay there for too long. But then he gets the double, and then he's able to pull the guillotine. But Cody's able to get on top from there because the guillotine wasn't too tight from Rob. Rob's not a submission specialist or anything. But then he's able to get back up, and he's able to get a double as Cody's stalking forward, just shoots it out from space. Looked decent, but a little more back and forth than you would think from Cody Stamen. Then in the third round, he presses forward, lands 1-2 hooks, lands a counter uppercut. He shoots a single, but he gets reversed with an underarm drag from Stamen. But then he's able to scramble and get on top eventually. But Rob looked good with the wrestling. Had the better wrestling, but Stamen really impressed me. Stamen was able to scramble a lot. Actually took him down a couple times. So Rob is a dominant wrestler, but he can't just take anybody down at will like people think. Not like Khabib. I mean, people try to compare him to Khabib. I don't think he's quite there yet. Rob is -260. Marlon Moraes is +210. I don't know. This is stupid. I checked out all the other fights. There's got to be an underdog that hits. I don't know. I think I like Marlon because Marlon's wrestling is better than people think, and I think Merab's wrestling is worse than people think. Yeah, if it gets past the second, third rounds, Marlon might be in some trouble, but I think Marlon can hit hard. I think he might be able to stop the early takedowns from Merab. +210, I like that price. My pick here is Marlon Moraes. Get into the main card. First fight on the main card, we got a banger at women's flyweight. We got Jessica Andrade taking on Cynthia Calvillo. Jessica just fought for the title, and Cynthia, she wants a title shot. I think she'll get it if she wins. Andrade took on Valentino Shevchenko, her last fight for the title. Moved up a weight class. Didn't go well for her, though. First round, comes forward, pumps a jab, throws leg kicks, but she gets taken down off of her leg kick by Valentina. She gives up her back momentarily, but she's able to get back up. She gets mat return a couple times, and then she comes forward and eats a 1-2. And then she engages the clinch on the fence. But Valentina's able to break it, and then she gets taken down with the body lock trip, and she gets to her feet, but then she gets returned down. In the second round, she eats a lead hook from Valentina. She clinches, but she gets taken down. Then she's in on a single, but she can't get it, and then she gets body locked and taken down again, and then she gets TKO'd and put in the crucifix position. Basically comes forward, tries to kind of throw Valentina, but she can't do it. She's usually stronger than people, but not Valentina. And Valentina was able to get the body lock and just do work on the ground. But before that, she took on Katlyn Chookagian. First round, she clinches on the fence. She's able to get the takedown. And then she slams out of a triangle and armbar attempts. And then she's able to drop her with a leg kick. She eats a few knees and kicks when she's getting inside. But then she chases her down and lands hooks. And she gets the single leg takedown, lands ground and pound, and then back on the feet, scramble on the feet, and then she gets a TKO with body shots. In the clinch, they get into a clinch position, and I didn't really even see the first one, but then Chookagian walked to the other side of the cage. You can tell she's hurt, and then Jessica just follows up and just keeps going to the body. So very smart from her, good ring IQ in that one. And then Cynthia Calvillo took on Katlyn Chookagian in her last fight. In the first round, she stays at range. She eats some jabs, but lands a left hook, and then she gets a single, but Kate's able to single leg takedown. Kate's able to pop right back up, though. And then Kate comes forward and lands a jab, but her double gets stuffed, and then she eats a knee, but she lands it right over the top, and then she lands a 1-2, and then she's able to land a left hook. So once she finally gets in, she can crack pretty good. But she's had trouble getting in from that jab. In the second round, she eats a jab as she's moving forward. She lunges in and lands a 1-2, but then she eats a jab. But she's able to land a left hook, so she kind of takes one to get in there, but she's working her way in there. Then the third round, she stays at range, and she tries to blitz forward, but Kate's able to land her jabs. And then Cynthia lands a body kick, and she clinches, but she can't get the takedown. And then they separate, and she lands a 1-2, but it wasn't enough. Katlyn just kept at range with that jab. But, Jessica's a lot shorter of a girl, so if anything, I think that would help her. But Cynthia's +210, and Jessica is -260. Kind of tough one to call here. I think Cynthia's good. I just don't think she can rise to this level. I'm sorry. I think she's, I don't think she'll ever be elite like that. I got to go with Jessica Andrade here. I just think she's more physical. I think she'll hit harder. But it should be a good scrap. But my pick here is Jessica Andrade. Then the second fight on the main card, heavyweight, you got Curtis Blades taking on Rosinio Rosenstrike. Big fight for either guy. Huge victory either way here because they're both looking to get back on that title run. Win here is gonna establish themselves. Okay, I know I lost, but right here, I'm going on a new run here, and I'm gonna make my way to the title. Tough for Curtis because he just got knocked the fuck out, and so it's do or die for him. I would think so. Curtis took on Derek Lewis his last fight. In the first round, he level changes, but then he eats a combination from Derek as he's trying to shoot in. Derek was prepared for the shot the whole fight. He stays at range, lands a straight right, but then he gets in a firefight, and then he swings hooks, and he's able to land a straight right. He lands a jab, and then he lands a combination, and then a leg kick in a firefight exchange with Derek, and then he lands an uppercut and an elbow. He looked good on the feet. Derek caught him a couple times, but Curtis looked good on the feet. He stays at range, bounces and comes in, and doesn't get into too many heavy blow exchanges with Derek. So he looked good there. And then the second round, he throws a combo, and then he shoots a single on the fence, but Derek's able to stuff it. That was kind of a telltale sign of the fight right there. He level changes too far out, kind of just dips his head and dives in, and then he just gets knocked the fuck out with that huge uppercut from Derek Lewis, but Derek was prepared for it the whole time. It is what it is, but he looked okay before that, but, he shot from too far away, way too long to shoot. And then Rosinio, he took on Augusto Sakai his last fight. Not too much happened, but, good performance for him for his style of fighting, which is touch of death. In the first round, he stalks, lands leg kicks, and then he holds the center of the octagon, which I liked, and then he's able to look for openings, doesn't give up any ground, and he catches a kick and he lands a right hand, and then he presses him to the fence and lands to the body, and then the head combination, and then he presses forward and lands a left hook to the body, and then the head, and then he lands right over the top and gets that knockout. Augusto's trying to circle out, and Rosinio just chases him, boom, boom, body head, and then comes over top of the right. Waited the whole round to do it. Doesn't put out too much activity, but, he got the knockout, and Augusto is no punk. I don't think so. And he got it done. Rosinio plus 260, Blades minus 335. I know it's a tough one for me too, and you would say Rosinio and Derek are similar, so Curtis is going to have trouble with him. I don't know. I don't think so. This is a huge price for Curtis Blades, but you know what? I picked Derek Lewis to have the touch of death against Cyril Gahn at a good underdog price, and it didn't. He got destroyed. And I think Rosinio has even less activity than Derek Lewis does. And I think as long as Curtis Blades just doesn't shoot in recklessly, I don't think he'll get knocked out. And I don't think Rosinio is going to be able to knock him out like Derek Lewis did. I hate this price. I hate it. But you know what? Curtis Blades is a decent striker, and he has wrestling. All Rosenstrike has is that touch of death, and he's slow as hell. And it's only 3 rounds, so he only has 3 rounds to hit him with a touch of death. My pick here is Curtis Blades. And then the feature fight of the main card, everyone's been waiting for. No one really asked for this rematch in particular, but everybody's been begging to see NICKDIAZ back. You got NICKDIAZ taking on Robbie Lawler up at 185 as a couple days ago. And you know what? I'm not even doing any research for this fight because NICKDIAZ fought 6 years ago, and Robbie Lawler fought over a year and a half ago, I believe, or a year ago. And, I know it's not good to do that, to go off your gut, but this is a very special circumstance here, and I was going to watch tape, and I was like, I don't even see the point, because who knows if NICKDIAZ is even the same person. I don't know. I'm just going with my gut here, and the line's pretty close either anyway, so it's like, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. I'm going with my gut feeling here. I'm picking Robbie Lawler minus 145, NICKDIAZ plus 125. It was a pick 'em, and then, I guess NICKDIAZ shadowboxing video came out, and the line moved, but whatever. Basically, it comes down to this. NICKDIAZ hasn't fought in 6 years. Robbie Lawler has fought, not been an active fight once a year, though. Hasn't looked great, but he's fought good guys, and he's hung in there, and he's fought. And that's the point. He's fought. This is 5 rounds. I guess you should favor NICKDIAZ, but I don't know. There's something in my gut that just tells me I'm picking Robbie Lawler here. I think he's more serious. Who knows how NICKDIAZ is going to look? We have no clue. I might be wrong. It might come back to bite me, but I don't think the research is going to help. My pick here is Robbie Lawler. In the co-main event, you got a banger, I guess. I don't know. Lauren Murphy's next up. You got Valentina Shevchenko taking on Lauren Murphy for the strap at women's flyweight. Lauren Murphy, she's next. It is what it is. Shevchenko, she took on Andrade her last fight. When I just went over, I'm going to go over from her perspective. First round, she lands a head kick at range, lands a 1-2. She gets a body lock takedown, gets around the back. She's able to get a mat return. Andrade gets out, she lands straight combinations, and then she gets clinched, but then she's able to get a body lock takedown, gets half guard, and then she gets around the back, threatens the rear naked choke, and then she's able to land some ground and pound, and she's able to get her back down. When Andrade gets to her feet, she's able to take her back down and just control her and beat her up a little bit. Second round, lands a lead check hook, and she gets a body lock takedown into half guard. She stuffs a single leg from it. Andrade tries to lift her, not happy with Shevchenko. And then she gets a body lock takedown again. And then this time she side control and just keeps working at crucifix position. Finally gets it. Keeps hitting her, elbowing her. Gets a TKO from crucifix. Beats the shit out of her. Looked amazing considering Andrade dumped Rose on her head and knocked her out. Very impressive. Lauren Murphy, she took on Joanne Calderwood her last fight. First round, she pumps a jab. She clinches on the fence. She lands a counter left hook and then a 1-2. Then she pumps a jab, but she eats a 1-2. She eats elbows in the tie clinch. And she lands a right hook off of Joanne's kick. You know, not a great round, but she looked okay. You know, Joanne was able to land a little more. Did a little better in the clinch, I thought. But, you know, Lauren did look good. It was a close round. Second round, she eats a right hook at range. She gets a high single to the body lock on the fence, and then she's able to get half guard, and then she lands some ground and pound, and then she gets back control, and she's able to threaten the Kimura, which is good to see. She has some submissions, and she goes for them. She can at least use them as threats to keep them on the ground. A very good second round for Lauren. Third round, close one again. I think Joanne won, but she eats a jab at range, she eats a body kick, and then a jab, and then her single attempt is stuffed, but she does land a knee to the body. Then she shoots too far out, and she eats knees in the tie clinch again, but she's able to separate. She lands some right crosses, but she eats a straight right and a jab in the pocket from Joanne. And, you know, Joanne really turned it on because, you know, she knew she was losing, so that's kind of why she landed those. But, you know, really nothing special about Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy plus 850, Valentina minus 1500. I know, it is what it is, though. Yeah, I don't see any reason Lauren Murphy would win this. I really don't. Nothing special. Very close fight. Joanne Calderwood is a split decision. You know, just Andrade came and beat her. I know miracles happen and big upsets happen, but not here. Not in elite women's MMA, they don't. You know, and upsets are going to happen. It's at the middling level to lower level. Not here. Not against Valentina Shevchenko. Price is ridiculous. So I saw over 1.5 minus 105, even money. I think it's going to go over 1.5 for sure. Valentina's not usually a quick killer like that against Andrade. It's just Andrade was giving her a lot of pressure. I think this fight's going to go a long time. Might even go the full distance. I think over 1.5, very safe bet. Even money, that's the play. But pick here, Valentina Shevchenko, obviously. Now time for the main event. Men's featherweight, 145 pounds. You got Alexander, the Great Volkanovski, taking on Brian T. City Ortega. Kind of a round robin. A lot of people think Max Holloway should have got a third shot, so there's still unfinished business after this fight, in my opinion. But it's still going to be a fun fight. Volkanovski took on Max Holloway. His last fight, obviously. The second time they fought. Very close fight, very good fight. I'm going to break it down. First round, he stays on the outside, he circles, eats leg kicks, but he comes forward, lands a jab and then a right hook, but then he gets pressed, eats a 1-2 for Max, and then he gets dropped at maybe 15 seconds to go with the head kick at range. Nothing crazy, pops right back up, but drops to a knee, got dropped. Second round, eats an uppercut, and then a 1-2 in the pocket. He lands a leg kick, and then lands a lead left hook, but he gets dropped. He walks into Max's uppercut and gets dropped at the end of the round again. So he gets dropped twice in a row, but then gets knocked out, but, you know, chin, little suspect. Third round, eats a flying knee on the fence. He lands a left hook, and then he shoots, and then he gets a clinch on the fence, and he works. He's back separate. He's able to work inside Max. He lands a jab. Looked okay. Close round. Fourth round, eats a uppercut and a spinning back kick, but he's able to get the trip takedown. Uses double underhooks. Gets the inside trip takedown. But Max is able to get right back up. Doesn't hold him there for long. But then he eats uppercut, getting in on a single. You know, Max always active. Never catch him. Just sitting there. And then he comes forward and lands a jab and a hook. So better round for Volkanovski, but still really close. Got him down, but just for a second. So technically, I guess he won, but you know, he didn't really do anything. In the 5th round, he eats a jab in an exchange. He lands a jab and then gets the clinch on the fence. He lands a short left hook. Whenever they kind of crash together, you know, he's able to get the better of Max on the inside. They trade jabs in the pocket. He eats a 1-2, but then he shoots a double, and he's able to get, and then he gets into an inside body lock, gets the body lock, inside trip takedown again like he did in the previous round. Just for a second though, Max is able to pop back up, and then he back on feet and lands a leg kick and a left hook. Very close fight. I really think Max won watching it back, but it was real close. So what are you gonna do? But he get dropped twice. That's the important part. He got dropped twice. And then Ortega took on Korean Zombie his last fight. In the 1st round, he stays on the outside, lands leg kicks, eats a straight right, and then he lands able to land a left hook, and then he eats a lead left hook from Korean Zombie, but definitely getting the better of the striking exchanges in this round. 2nd round, he gets pressed and he eats a flurry from Korean Zombie, but then he eats a straight right off of his jab, and then he shoots a single, but he gets stuffed. But you know, he's doing that the whole fight, just faking the single just to get Korean Zombie guessing and land some strikes, just keeping him guessing. You know, Ortega's very methodical. He fakes the leg, lands overhand left, eats uppercut on the fence, but he's able to knock Korean down with a spinning elbow, but he eats the uppercut and then a left hook as he's moving forward. But he's able to get the single leg takedown quickly again. Not for long, but you know, he's able to get it, able to score it when he needs to. That can steal a round, like how Volkanovski stole a round, so very important. 3rd round, lands a lead right hook, lands a body kick. He level changes, and then he lands a straight left to the body. When he does that, he grabs a lead leg and lands a hook whenever they separate. Like I said, he just does it to create action. Very smart on his part. And then he lands a left hook. And in the 4th round, he backs up and able to land a body kick, lands leg kicks, and then he grabs he's able to grab the single leg, gets a takedown on the fence, and then he's able to land elbows on the break, and you know, hurts Korean pretty bad. I think might have been from a headbutt, but you know, it was a pretty hard elbow he landed. So it was sneaky. It's Ortega's sneaky. And then he level changes and lands a left to the body, and then he shoots a single, doesn't get it, but just keeps the pressure up. Round 5, lands a right hook and then a left hook, and then he pumps a jab and he moves away, and he lands jabs, but he eats a hook from Zombie, but then he eats 1-2 hooks from Zombie, but then he shoots a single, and then, you know, doesn't take any real damage there. So you know, that single was a new development in his game, in the striking game. Not one submission was attempted because he didn't even need to do that. But I feel like we'll see it in this fight. Anyway, Ortega plus 150, Volkanovski minus 170. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to go for Ortega. I like the plus money. I like Brian Ortega. I don't think Volkanovski is that great. I mean, he's not. I think Ortega can beat him. You know, we didn't even see his ground game in the last fight, so I think he has that in his back pocket. He's able to mix things up with a single leg. I think he'll be able to defend Volkanovski's takedowns. It's going to be a close fight. I think his striking's good. It's going to get to the 4th and 5th rounds. I don't know who wins those, but I think Ortega can pull him out. I think he can win 3 out of 2. That's all he needs, 3 out of 2. My pick here is Brian Ortega. But anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to my breakdowns. I haven't had great the past couple weeks, but you know, this card is pretty awesome. A lot of fun fights. Did my research. Really excited about it. Hopefully we do better. But even if we don't, you know, it's still going to be a fun night of fights. This is amazing. You got 2 title fights, important fights. You got a legacy fight. You got some important heavyweight fights. Can't go wrong. Dan Hooker's back. Marlon Moraes and Merab Dvalishvili. Important bantamweight fight. Anyway, I appreciate all the support. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe to my channel. Tell people to subscribe to my channel. I can win you some money. Even if I don't win you a lot of money, I can win you some money on certain fights. If you bet the certain fights that I get right, you can win money. Yeah, tell people, follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all that. Leave a comment down below. Talk to me. You know, this is a big fight. If you have any questions, I can help answer them. Or if you want to tell me anything that I don't know, I'm always here to learn. But anyway, thank you guys, and let's win this money.